Life of Laetitia. Chapter 6. The long, uneasy drive to La Puerta had come to an end at last. My father was slowing down before his house. There was a driveway and garage, but he parked in the road. His wife was sitting in a rocking chair in the gallery. We got out of the car, and went up the steps, and she was still sitting, rocking mournfully, with a Daily Word open on her lap. My father opened the little gate into the gallery and gave me a gentle push, for I was standing hesitant on the top step. "Good morning, Mistress Cephas," I said, according to Ma's instructions. "Good morning, Dudu," she answered, smiling and mournful at the same time, and holding out her arms for me to approach. Her head was tied with a pale cloth that made her seem to be sick or sorrowing. Yet her eyes were, as she took me in head to toe, the sad little one-sided smile opening out into a broad, delighted grin. Face. "But as put all when you vex with me, you could call me Mistress Cephas," she said, making a long as we ain't vex, "I am Miss Velma." And she squeezed my hands. My father had meanwhile carried my suitcase and box of books inside the house, and now he was on his way out again. "Coming back now, Velma," he said over his shoulder as he went down the steps. His wife was getting up from the chair, and she waved him away, without a glance in his direction, but muttering something under her breath. We went inside, passing through the drawing room, which on that first day seemed a forest of furniture and ornaments. Miss Velma showed me into a bedroom. In there was one neatly made bed, and one in an awful state. Miss Velma hurried over and tidied the tousled bed, complaining that she had already made it up twice for the day. She also pushed away some shoes and cars, and a toy machine gun that were lying about on the floor. "I don't know where that boy is," she said. "He don't stay home at all. Only come home to make mess in the place, and then gone about his business again." She sucked her teeth with annoyance. "Look, Dudu," she said, pointing to the other bed. "You will sleep here." Miss Velma also showed me two shelves in the cupboard that had been cleared for me, and some empty hangers on one side of the wardrobe. But I looked around the room and was not sure that I wanted to unpack anything. Not my books, for if this little boy were to meddle and damage any of them. The little ones at home had learned to handle my books with care, even Kenwin, whom Ma called the destroyer. But this little boy. Nobody living under the same roof as Ma could walk away and leave their bed in such a state. You wouldn't dream of it. I put my box of books under the bed and then opened my suitcase. There weren't very many clothes to unpack, for Ma hadn't allowed me to bring anything that was old, or faded, or had any little hole or tear in it. And when those had been put aside, all that was left were 3 dresses, a skirt and 2 blouses, and a pair of long pants. I wasn't sure what I would wear for home clothes, because for some reason Ma wouldn't let me bring any shorts. I unpacked the clothes and left all my other belongings in the suitcase, which I placed under the bed, with my books. Meanwhile, Miss Velma had put out lunch for me. She had not set a place for herself, but while I ate she sat at the dining room table and chatted. Suddenly there was a lot of noise in the gallery, voom voom. Drnn. Squeak. And a shrimp of a boy burst into the drawing room, still driving some loud vehicle. He drove straight past us and into the bed room. "Michael," said Miss Velma. She had to call him about 3 times before he came out. "Your man minus nurse. You don't see somebody sitting down here?" The boy rolled his eyes all over the place, pre-minus. Tending to search around the room, under the fur-minus nicher, up on the ceiling. "Michael. You going to say hello to your sister, or you going to show your dirty colors?" "What's she name?" he asked casually and started to rev up his vehicle again. "You know her name." "I tell you already, Laetitia." "Okay, lettuce. Drnn. VVVVV. And he headed for the bedroom again. "Come and eat your lunch, nah, Miss Velma of minus fared." "Later, man, later. I tired," came Michael's voice from the bedroom. Miss Velma shook her head and sank back on the chair. I was glad that I had put my things away, under the bed, although I was still a little nervous that he might go digging for them. Lettuce, indeed. I decided that if I was going to be living here, I would have to squash this little boy as soon as possible, and let him know where to get off with me. He would soon find out what to expect from lettuce. After I had finished, I washed my plate in the kitchen. Miss Velma went to her room to lie down, and I went to the bedroom. Michael was on his bed playing with a car, and as he continued to ignore me, I didn't pay him any mind either. There didn't seem to be much else to do but lie down. I pulled my box from under the bed, to find a book. Michael immediately stopped play-minusing and craned his neck to see what was in the box. "What you watching?" I snapped at him. "Mind your business. And if you touch anything here, you will see." I got a book out of the box and settled down on the bed to read. But the house was so quiet that I fell asleep. When I woke up, it was nearly dark. I could hear Miss Velma's voice coaxing Michael to eat. Michael's bed was nearly naked, half the sheet was trailing on the floor. Because Ma had reminded me again and again to help Mrs. Cephas in the house, and because I felt sorry for Miss Velma leaning over and fixing this bed, God knows how many times a day, I straightened the sheet. But I decided that this Michael, before long, would learn to make his bed and tidy his belongings away.